If I handed you $1 million cash today and told you I wanted it back in 5 years with 6% interest, would you take it? If your answer is an immediate no, then you don't know how to make more than 6% return. And that's okay. Most people don't know. That's why millions of people settle for much less in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and CDs. If your answer is a resounding yes, then you probably know how to make money from money or are willing to learn. Either that or you are someone who isn't really going to worry about the consequences and just wants to have $1 million with no idea how to pay it back. Since we know such a situation would turn out terribly wrong, let me give you some ideas of what you could do to pay back the money plus interest and end up with a nice chunk of change yourself. Welcome to the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. This is How to Invest $1 million. Private lending. 1. You could borrow the funds and then turn around and lend them to someone else for more. That's exactly what banks do. They borrow money from the Fed, mark it up about 3%, and lend it to individual borrowers like us. If you borrowed $1 million for 5 years at 6% interest and turned around and lent it to someone else at 9%, you'd earn $30,000 per year and over $150,000 during the 5 years. The key here is to only lend it to someone you know will pay it back in full. And if they can't pay you back for some reason, you'd have agreed to some form of collateral you could take instead. Property is the most common type of collateral. For safety, the collateral property should be worth as much or more than the loan, including potential sales costs. Rental income. 2. You could use the $1 million to purchase rental properties that yield 9% return for the cash flow. Let's say you bought 10 properties averaging around $100,000 each, then rent them for $1,000 a month. Your net returns would be similar to the private lenders, except you would have to account for closing costs of about $3,000 on each property, lowering your profit to $120,000 after 5 years. However, if those homes appreciate in value by 3% annually, you'd gain an additional $150,000 in equity. Between the home equity and the cash flow, you could sell 8 of the homes to pay back your loan plus interest and keep 2 of the homes for yourself. You'd own them free and clear. Plus, have some leftover cash in your pocket. Even better, if those homes appreciate in value by 4%, you could sell 7 of the homes to pay back your loan and keep the remaining 3 homes free and clear. And if by chance they appreciated by 6%, which is not out of the question in areas experiencing high job growth, you'd get to keep 4 of the homes free and clear. Investing in business. 3. You could take that $1 million and invest it in a great business idea. If all goes well, you could double, triple, or even quadruple your investment. However, this is the riskiest venture since statistically 50% of new businesses fail during the first 5 years. If you invest in a business and it fails, what kind of collateral would you have, if any? You can see why it's tough to get a business loan even if you have a great credit and fantastic business idea. If the business fails, you're stuck with $1 million debt and no real collateral which to pay back. That's why you need to be very careful when friends or family come to you asking for your financial support in their business ideas. If there's no collateral, you need to treat your investment like venture capital, assuming there's a 50% chance you'll get your money back. And that type of risk should really be left to real venture capitalists who can afford to take those kinds of losses. Banks much prefer to lend on property. All they really want to see is that the property is worth more than the loan, that you can afford the monthly payments, and that you haven't taken on more debt that you can handle. If you have good credit because you pay your bills on time, you will get the best interest rate available. But if you don't have great credit history, you can still get a loan. FHA will lend to borrowers who have foreclosures with just 2 years prior. Why? Because they still don't see a real risk. If you don't pay, they take the property as collateral. Now let's talk about the power of leverage. I'm sure most of you listening already know what leverage is. There are many ways to make money with money. When you borrow money, you can receive far greater returns than you could achieve using your own capital. That's why financing is often referred to as leverage. But please use caution and don't take up the use of OPM, other people's money, lightly. If things go wrong, you can find yourself over-leveraged, saddled with debt you don't know how to pay back. Never jump into an investment that you don't understand. Never invest your money with someone who has not succeeded in that particular investment strategy over and over again. While private lending and rental properties can be highly lucrative, they can also become money pits if they are located in high crime zones, in decaying cities lacking job growth, or have deferred maintenance issues. It is imperative that you get educated on any investment you wish to pursue, or get mentored by someone who has repeatedly done what you are trying to do successfully. Finding a mentor might be hard, but there are some sites that you can actually look at the professional sites if you need a mentor. Or you can join groups that cater to angel investors. You want to have a relationship with angel investors and seek out angel investors as potential mentors themselves, or a strategic partner who also invests. That's the best way. Thank you for watching. Now, the question: if I gave you $1 million and asked you to pay me 5 years later with a 6% interest rate, would you take it? Answer below. Thank you for watching the Shakaama Live Show. See you again. We got millions of reasons.